MTN SME Hub. Link to growth, link to success, link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show. In studio with us today, we've got Retang Phaala. She's the founder of Setšong Tea Crafters. And the question to me today is how to scale without compromising the community impact. So first of all, I just want to congratulate you on the packaging. I think the packaging is world class. It's a beautiful, beautiful product. And I think you're very clever in terms of how you've named the products in terms of detox tea. And I saw the one sleepy tea, indigenous sleepy tea, etc. I think it leads you to understand what the product can do. And then I haven't tasted the tea, but you're saying that the flavors are good and it feels more refreshing than medicine. Here's the issue that you have to overcome now with scaling. When we talk about scale means different things to different people. So to take it from where you are to maybe double might be scaling, to 10x might be scaling, but of a small base to 10x in another person's world, it might be a small business. In your world, it might be a big business. And you touched on some of the potential problems in terms of how the business operates. So now you've got people going to do the wild harvesting, I think is the term you used, to go just walk around, look for these plants, know where they are, and then go harvest them as and when, and then bring it back and process. But there's a point where there's a step change and there's an operational change where things need to change. So that might be hothouses or greenhouses that need to then produce. And then there's an infrastructure cost and your cost per unit changes. The type of labor you use changes. Everything changes. And then it's all about the build, which is capital intensive. And then it's then about recuperating all that infrastructure cost, etc., all that investment. And that very often means either a margin squeeze or a price increase, one of the two. And is the market ready for that or not? So I'm just summarizing the problem statement. But I'm going to tell you another negative, and then I'm hopefully going to end on a positive. The other negative is if you're coming into a market, generally the person who is a pioneer in a market is the one that dies. Okay, traditionally the pioneer would die from malaria or like or snake bites or things like that. It's the companies that come after the pioneer that actually make the money. And so you need to be very careful not to be in pioneering status. And you alluded to the fact that a big part of pioneering is educating a market. Okay, so you educate the market on your back. The market now knows about the deer route. They now know it. You educate it. Somebody comes in and goes, "Oh, there's a market here that you've created. Thank you very much." They come in and they either copy or they do something better, and they come in, and that's what you've got to be worried about. So you have to have this mindset of not being the pioneer when you are the pioneer. And I've been through that personally, so I understand the challenge of pioneering a market, but having to ensure that I can step change very quickly, and that comes through two things. It comes through selling, the ability to sell. So you need volume. Okay, so you have to get the volumes, and there's no other way to get volumes other than knocking on doors. So that means a whole new mental model for you to take a huge part of your time to go knock on doors and be rejected. Okay, which is pioneering in itself. But you've got to get into markets, which is going to create the volume story. The second thing is going to be around margin. And now that's why I was asking about the questions about the price points, because if your price point's the same, you've got two things going on. You either, as your volumes go up, your input cost per box or per packet will decrease, or you can go and you can have a speciality and say, well, if the market's at 55 Rand, I'm at 65 Rand or even 70 Rand. I position myself differently so that there's margin. I've got enough margin times volume, which is from sales, right? So margin times volume equals a lot of profitability, which I then use for the capital for the step change, which is now investing in the greenhouses and those kinds of things. So you have to make the margin now, and you, in my opinion, you differentiated enough. I don't know the market well enough, but on first blush, it looks like there's enough differentiation. And if that's what also my question up front, is it more like a refreshment or medicine? You then ask your market and you said it was health. People will generally pay a premium for health. So then it's really about the digestion tea, which is health, sleep, which is health, detox, which is health, energy, which is health. So you've positioned it, in my opinion, very cleverly. But my view is that then the pricing is wrong. You need the margin for the future.
Yes.
It's not for the present, it's for the future.
Yes.
Right? And your product should withstand and say, well, we are 10 Rand more, but we're not just a refreshing tea. We've got huge health benefits. To let's call it a peppermint tea that might have a nominal or a chai tea, so you have to even position your health benefits higher than what the other teas are, the other infused teas are. And that to me allows you for margin. Then a big part of what you obviously, and I'm sure you've thought of this, and certainly the people you've been working with must have thought of this too. This is about ensuring that there's a whole story around Dia, around how it's, I was sick and now I'm better. I was tired and now I'm awake. Those kinds of legitimate stories that are based in science rather than anecdotes. And you need to spend your time and money on telling that story. So in short, if you're going to step change, you're going to have to step change. You need the money for it. So that's about price increase. I know the pressure around price increase, especially if you've got the likes of a big retail who's supported you. Now you're saying, I'm going to charge 10 Rand more because some dude on TV said I should. But that 10 Rand times each box is going to be basically, don't put it in your pocket. That's going to be for building out the future of the business. And that will allow you then to take your labor force, re-engineer your labor force to now work in a more constructed environment like a greenhouse. They're used to doing it. It's just instead of going out there, doing it in here. And that's how I would scale this business without compromising community impact. So I hope I've given you some things to think about. I think there's some horrible things in there to wrestle with, but I think they're important things. And I hope I gave you some things to think about. And always remember, if you think it, write it down and make it a reality.
The Big Small Business Show, proudly sponsored by MTN Business.